Hey everyone, long time no see. I haven't been recording for a very long period of time. Coming back, I'm going to continue the data journey. So please join me with this new session. Today we're going to talk about the difference between the Excel data modeling and also Power BI data modeling. You can see I've opened Excel, but also I opened the Power BI. Basically, there's no significant difference between modeling. There's some, like say, small minor difference, but won't be noticeable. The underlying logic is always the same, is because these two software, they're sharing the same data connector. For example, in the Excel, you have this get transform data. It's actually using the Power Query connectors to connect to your source. While in the Power BI, you also get this Power Query connectors to connect a various different of source. So while you connect that, you do a little bit cleansing in the data Power Query, and then you dump that as either here pivot table, pivot chart. Here you can use various different supported visuals, right? So it's basically the same. So let's just get started. So first, let's get data. Right now, I have dumped everything into, I have dismantled a database and extract tables, various table into different format. I have CSV and also Excel format. Let's just choose this folder. The reason you can't see that is because I'm choosing get data from folder. So I'm dedicated to this folder. So if you click open, now it will connect to that folder and also start to reading the content inside that. You can see there's several different tables. So I have dismantled a database, extract each of the individual table and save that as a CSV so we can benefit from using it. Here I'm going to only look at a small amount of tables. For example, we're going to use the order detail tables, order tables over here, and also the customer tables. So let's go to transform data. So the step in the Power Query in order to improve the readability. So normally I will change this to the raw, and then I put this into a new group, say input. Okay. So this is my first query row. I'm only targeting a limited amount of tables. For example, I'm looking at order detail, and also customer. Click OK. Now I don't need all of this, so we can just save it over here. Now I'm going to reference this one. Reference it 3 times. So the first one, I'm going to change that to the order table. Second one is going to be the order detail. This one going to be the customer. Let's recheck the name. So you have orders, customers, orders, details. Okay. Let's make the name same. Okay. Since I have these 3, I will put this into the new group. We call it a process. Once we have done that, so since I'm only looking at the orders, so I can just untick everything, just tick back to the order, and then I can expand the steps. Now I'm actually diving into that orders table in particular and look at the detail. Now you can see once we have reading the detail, there's an additional helper. You can just leave it as it is, but now we're gonna have a look at order. Now that's our order, right? So we don't need this one, we can just remove that. And a few steps to check. First, we need to make sure all the ID column is text. ID column is text. ID column is text. Then we check the rest. Looks like all right. Okay. Then we go into the order detail. We do the same thing. We filter to the order details, and then we look into the content and we hit OK. Now you'll have this helper coming up, but if we look at the order detail, we can remove this one, change this to ID, text. Okay. Once this has been done, we are okay with that. Now we come to the customer. Customers, we do the same thing, export to the detail. It will have the helper later on once it's expanded. We leave it there, and then we can remove this one and change this to the text. And there's a few things that we need to check, so it's okay. Now you have this. Now we're gonna move this to the new group, which is output. Because what we're trying to do is doing the data modeling, right? So we don't need to look at input and process. We only look at the output. So this is the output, and this is the primary key, foreign key columns for me to use. And I have all the IDs, customers, right? So there's one thing I think I need to adjust, because there's a ship bar. This is also an ID column, name, cities. Okay, everything seems all right. Once you're okay with this, we can going back to close and load to or close and load. So here we go, close and load to. So here is where you add Power queries or tables or data into data model. You can see this one has been ticked. If you don't tick this, you're going to just insert a pivot table or table to look at that. Since we're going to use that, this is the model we're going to use. And then we can only create connection. We don't want anything in the canvas right now. So once we have done, you can see everything will be loaded from the row to the helper and also to the eventually the output. But where do you see the tables? There's several ways. You can go into data tool. Here's the model or Power Pivot. So Power Pivot is where you manage your model. Power Query is where you cleansing your data before importing into the model. We click Manage, you'll have this new window. This is Power Pivot for Excel. It's not that obvious because they have raw orders customers, right? So if you go into diagram view, you'll have much better visibility. Here I have order details, customers, right? So you can leave this as it is. So what you can do is think about that. A customer comes to the shop or online. She goes to the online and find an item she's very interested in, and so she add that to the cart. Once that cart is added, there will be something order being formed, and then she's not only interested in one order because she's interested in any product associated with this product she just picked. So there will be multiple lines of that order. So once she clicked the like say submit order or like say make payment, the order will be generated with multiple items. So multiple items existing in one order. This one order belongs to one customer. But this customer can come back again with another order and also multiple items in that order. So that's why the relationship between these three tables is one customer has many orders. One order has many order detail, which is order line item. So how we link them together? By using the primary key and the foreign key. Primary key is a unique identifier from the current table, for example, customer ID. Link the foreign key, which is the customer ID as well, in a many side of the order, right? Once we link this, we'll build up a relationship between these two tables. One customer has many orders, which means this customer ID of a particular customer can potentially appear multiple times in the order because she or he can place many orders at different given time, right? Likewise, we can using the primary key from the order table linked to the foreign key order ID in the order detail table. Let's just do that. Now you have one-to-many relationship, right? Okay, once we set up this relationship, it's crystal clear. We can just save and go and just close that. Okay, once we have that ready, then we can right click on this query. There's a load to. If we say load to, remember previously when we tried to add to the model, we just create connection. But this time I'm going to do even better by introducing pivot tables. If we hit OK, we're going to use this cell. Then there will be data pack coming up, but everything is in your model, right? So all the things is in the model, but right now I'm just active the order table. That's fine. So let's just say we're interested in customer X, the number of quantity of the product that the company placed across multiple years. So what are we going to do is we're imagining this will be the customer, this will be the year, this will be the like say period or whatever. So how do we do that? So in between the value we're going to be the count of quantity. So first we're going to the customer, company name, drag to the row, right? This is your customer across different period. So we're going to the order. There's an order date, right? Order date, drag to the column, and then we're interested in the quantity that you place in a particular order detail in the value section. Then if we limit this to the second customer, okay. So let's just say this is our interesting point. We're interested in a particular customer, that customer's order placement status over the quantity across different years. So that's what we want. That's just one thing we need to adjust. Make sure I untick that. Okay. So this customer, 1996, 6 quantity, and 28 and 29, so on and so forth. So that's the interesting point. What if we want to look at not only the quantity being placed, but also the order value. Let's going back to the model to check that. Going to Power Pivot, see Manage. Here we're going to use the data view. If we're going to the order detail, you can see a particular order, they have several columns for us to use. Unit price and quantity, and also the discount. If we choose the discount is a small percentage that attached to the order value. So 1 minus the discount value will be the total order value or the final order value. And here it's telling us for this product 35, unit price 18 was charged, added quantity of 8. So we're going to use this one times this one, bracket together, times 1 minus this discount rate to get the line order value for a particular orders, right? So that's what we're going to do. So in that way, what we can do is going here, we can add a new measure. So measure is where you can help yourself. We're going to leave this in the order because we can tell you for each order what's the order value, right? So here we can leave as order value, and this is going to be order. The measure name going to be order value. Let's make it since we're going to count every line, so we're going to use sum x. Using sum x, we're going to the order details table. The expression going to be the order details unit price times quantity and times 1 minus discount. So let's read that through. For each order detail line, when we try to add the line value, we're using the unit price times the quantity and times 1 minus discount rate. So that's what we say for that line. What's the final price? Okay, once we have finished this, we can close it. And then for this order value, I'm gonna force this to a numeric. I don't need decimals. I can keep this symbol of the currency symbol, hit OK. Once you add that, it will quickly add to this visual, but I don't like it. So what you can do is go into the order, untick the DAX we just written, and then you can hold Control, drag this down to a new one. This time, in the order detail, we're not interested in that quantity, rather we're interested in the value. So for this particular customer, let's just insert more rows. It has 6 quantity being placed for the 1996. Well, the total order value is $89, but for what order? So we are interested in order. So we can just drag the order ID, add that as a row under the company. Now you have this breakdown. Likewise, we can add the same thing, which is the order ID under the company name. So you can check that. With this DAX measure, we are able to review the order quantity, but also the dollar value of the order for a particular order down to the bottom. And the model that we build is a data model like one-to-many relationship. Pretty simple, easy. In your own model, you may have more table to cope with, but one-to-many is one and only legit relationship supposed to existing in the data model. So let's finish closing the Excel part. Let's jump that right in the Power BI. So how should we do that in Power BI? It's pretty easy. Same thing. We get things from a folder, right? There's a file from a folder. The beautiful things about data modeling is that you can jump right back into Excel, go into the home and go into data tab, query, and double click that. So for all the things that you need, you can just click. You can just click all of them and you can just copy. And going back to the Power BI and then click this transform, it will open the Power Query. You can just paste. See what you get. You got a process, you got a row, and also you got orders, right? Everything is exactly like what you need. So let's just bring this to a new group. It's going to be the input. These 3 going to be the output. Okay, now we have replicated the exact same thing. Let's drag this to the top. So input, process, output, exact same. So now we have this ready. You can see everything has been carried forward from the Excel data modeling. What we need to do is just close and load. But before that, I want to check the loading process. Everything is in italic like this one. Is a little bit slow. It won't be loaded into the data model because we want our data model as clean as possible. So even the raw, we don't need that. We can untick that. So everything with the italic font won't be loading the form model. So once I click this apply and load, you'll only have these 3 tables, which is very good. Okay, now we close and apply. Now, once this loading is finished, going back to check over here, data pane, see how many table has been loaded. So you can see only 3 tables, which is exactly what we want. And let's replicate what we did in the Excel data modeling. Going to here, this is data model. Everything has been linked, but I like to do that from the scratch. Yes. So let's put that in the same way. So you have a customer who is going to use in the customer ID to place an order in the order table. And once this is placed, this order, which is the order ID, will have many order details line item. So likewise, you have this one to many, one to many. So that's the golden relationship that I always love to. Also, you can check the relationship under the model tab. You have 2 relationships among 3 tables. So 2 relationships, 3 tables. Now just a little bit like say aesthetic change. For example, there's a date column. If we go into here, check the order, you have a date, right? So normally I don't like this date. I want to change that to this format. Since I'm not going to use this for demonstration purpose, so you can change this later on by yourself. Here I'm just touching this order date tables. Okay, now we have got this. If we try to replicate what we do, quantity order by customer, also order value, right? So we are interested in a particular company and cross different year, which is the order date. Things we're going to use the matrix order date crossed column, and then saying what's the quantity under the value. Okay, so the only thing that we're interested in one customer, which is the second one, right? So company name, we filter that to the second. Okay, everything has been replicated except those annoying date. It seems like it cannot sense the month and also the day. Well, like in the Excel, it's beautifully grouped by year, and also you have different hierarchy. If you right click that and group, you can see that's how it's been grouped. But here it doesn't happen because in the Power BI data model is more restricted. So what we need to do is going to transform. We need another dimension table, which is third table, fourth table, to surround this order detail whatsoever. So what we do is we're going to benefit using this one. We're going to reference that. We're going to name this as a Canada. Once we have this, we only keep the order date. We remove other columns. We sort it from the small to largest, and then right click, we remove the duplicates. Now I have a complete list of the date particular. Once we have that, we can just say date. And then from this, I'm going to add a column. We need to add year. We also need to add month. We're also interested in the month name and also the day, right? So that's what we need. Once we have this table, Canada table ready, we can just close and load this back to our data model. Now, since we have this, we build our relationship. Canada, the date gonna link to the orders, right? We're talking about order. So going to order, I think there's a date in the, which is the order date linked to. So one Canada date has many order date. Yes. One thing I need to change, going to the Canada table to update the format of this one to the same one. Okay, once you have done, we're going to here. Now let's swap the order date. We don't need that. I don't like the format. I don't like everything. Then we go into the Canada. We'll put the year first, and then we'll put the month name underneath. Now, if we going back to here, so under this one we have year and month. If we explore that, you can see, and there's a subtitle for us to disable for the column. Now you can see this, everything has been displayed exactly like what we have in Excel. Let's just make a comparison. Here, if we say group, I only need the month and year. We expand that, and going back to the Power Query, you can check that. So September 6, 1997, we got August and November, 18 and 10 for that. Also, we can bring up the order ID from the order table on top of the underneath the company name. If we expand that, that's our breakdown. So you can see it's exactly the same, 26 in total, right? Okay, now we come to the second part. It's a little bit hard. We need to get the value down. So easily, you can just copy everything. But here, I like to write everything in the Scratch. So you can click here to add a measure. The measure gonna be the order value equal to here. We're gonna use the sum x. Sum x, the table gonna be the order details table. We know that, right? And also expression gonna be the unit price times the quantity and times the 1 minus the discount, right? Okay, once we have this ready, we close the parentheses, we hit enter. And you can see this order value is in between and the column. If you want to make it more distinct or stand out, just add some special sign to indicate that. Then it will move to the top. Now, if we just copy paste this visual, drag down, we're not going to use this column. We're going to use the measure that we have over here to review that. There's one more thing we need to do is the format. So the format we like to be currency. We don't like any decimal, so we put 0. Now let's take a look of this versus this. You can see we have replicated exactly the same thing, except that the format is a little bit different, but we did replicate the same thing. You can see Power BI, even as a later, it has like inherited the data model from the Power PV. It's called now data model, but the basic everything the same. So you can write DAX in Excel, you can write DAX in the Power BI. So if you don't have that capacity to explore all the features function in the Power BI, I do believe you need to check out the Power PV to practice the DAX. That's the most low cost way to practice. Build a data model like this way, follow the one-to-many relationship, and write a few measures over here like I just did to explore the functionality. The reason we build data model is more like we don't want data to be repeat itself, because you don't want, like, say, merge everything into all the details table to have a one fat big table and then do the pivot table. That's the wrong way to do that. The data modeling will help you to explore the information through those relationships. So that's something to be remembered, and also you should really do it yourself. Okay, that's a very general, simple introduction about data modeling across two different software, Excel and Power BI. If you guys are interested in anything that beyond this topic, we can discuss that in the comment section. See you guys in the next one.